Hello.
What's up? That happened so fast.
There we go. We're here. How was your Tuesday so far? It's a little bit rainy here in Chicago.
I know. It's actually, sometimes that's nice though. Like I feel like I'm like cuddling up and I'm wearing warm sweater and it was so nice having that warm weather, but I'm kind of like I like the fall, so.
Totally. Well, all right. There have been a lot of questions that have come in, so we're just going to jump right into it. So let's first start off with, what was like the first ever production that you were in? Doesn't have to be professional.
Yes. First show I ever did was Footloose. And I played Rusty, the one who sings Let's Hear It for the Boy. And there are videos of that on my TikTok because, guys, it was bad.
Would you say that show is what led you to really want to pursue acting, or was it something later in life?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I didn't grow up in my parents love the arts and support the arts, but they're architects. And I didn't grow up in a family that knew anything about musical theater, but I was always that kid who was like, oh, hey, Casey, acting things out in my living room. And, obviously it was always there. So then when they put me in that first show, it was like, oh, okay. That's where she goes.
So good, so good. And, not only are you an actress, but, you also coach, which is really exciting. When did you begin that EKM Studios journey?
Yes. Oh, someone was at my debut. That's so cool. Yeah. So yeah, I'm also a voice teacher. I'm certified with the Institute for Vocal Advancement, which if there are any like budding voice teachers on here, DM me and we can talk. They're a great training program. But I started that when I was on the road with Something Rotten. I was playing B, and she is kind of beloved by especially young girls, and women really love this character, as do I. And so I was getting all these messages after the shows from specifically young women being like, how do you warm up for this? And what was your audition process like? And so I sort of slowly started just like coaching and audition coaching. And then I realized right away, oh, I want to actually learn more about the intricacies of the voice so that I can teach, true vocal technique and all of that. So that's how it started.
Oh, that's so exciting. Now, yeah. I saw yesterday on your TikTok that you recently posted a video about your journey as a cancer survivor with thyroid and how that also led. Would you mind sharing a little bit of that journey and how that made you who you are today?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. So, long story short, when I was 18, I had just gotten into my dream school for musical theater, Cincinnati Conservatory of Music, and I was so excited to go. And then that same month, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And of all the cancers to have, it's one of the better ones because you don't have to do chemo. It's a surgery and then a radioactive pill basically that you take. But anyway, so I was like, all right, fine, just get it out of me. Let's get the surgery going. And we did the surgery very quickly. And the surgery ended up being what should have been a 2-hour surgery was an 8-hour surgery. It was a lot more cancer than they expected. And I came out of it with a paralyzed vocal cord because at some point in the surgery, they had nicked a nerve, basically. And so I woke up with no voice, which of course, as a singer, that was the biggest fear. And so I spent that summer just seeing all the speech language pathologists, doing all the vocal therapy, learning a lot about my voice. I think it's where I started first thinking about actually wanting to learn more and maybe teach one day. But yeah, I lost pretty much all ability to sing for about a 3-month period, and then it slowly started coming back. And it's so I've been reflecting on it a lot because I'm almost 10 years cancer free. That's coming up. And yeah, if you had told that 18-year-old girl who thought she was never going to be able to sing again that she would be playing Elphaba, it's very cool.
and now you're here today. And I just really admire your courage and confidence to like share that story on social media. It's really awesome. And you know, you have such a wonderful digital online community. What led you to really want to start posting on TikTok and continue that growing and journey and making that digital?
To be honest, I mean, it was like the depths of the pandemic, and we were all just like searching for and needing human connection, right? And so some of us turned to TikTok. But really, what it started as was like, I'm not auditioning, I'm not performing, I'm teaching full time now. I need new students, you know? So it just started that way. And I was posting little videos like how to sing this high note in this song and tips and tricks to, you know, whatever, just vocal technique stuff. And then that grew into, you know, what it is today. But it really started just as like looking for students, which worked more than worked.
That's exciting. Well, now we have so many questions about Wicked, so we gotta jump to it. What was your ever first encounter with Wicked? Did you grow up like listening to the soundtrack? Like what was it?
Yeah, definitely grew up listening to the soundtrack. So I was born and raised in San Francisco, right in the heart of the city, which is where Wicked did its pre-Broadway tryout. However, that was, you know, in the early 2000s. So I was too young. I didn't see it. I was, you know, 6 or 7 or whatever. But I remember that it was like, it was buzz, you know, people were excited about it and talking about it. And at this point, I hadn't really even discovered musical theater. I wasn't performing or anything yet, but I remember people talking about it. And then as I started loving musical theater, of course, yeah, you know, listening to the album and bringing the songs into my voice lessons. And then there was another stint where the tour was like sitting down in San Francisco when I was in like early high school, I want to say. So I saw that, and I've seen it on Broadway. Yeah. Long history with the show for sure.
A lot of folks are interested about your personal journey to the show, being in the show now. Can you walk us through a little bit about, you know, when did your audition start and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, it's actually kind of one of those like magic showbiz stories. So I moved to New York after graduating in 2017, and like anyone would wanted to get into the room and be seen for Wicked, right? And as I'm sure many of our viewers know, breaking into this industry is no joke, and I just couldn't get seen. I just was waiting in long lines, and I was non-union, and I just could not get seen. And that was the case pretty much for 5 years. I just couldn't get seen. And then it's so showbiz magic. This past April, I did a production of Sideshow, which is a little known musical, right outside of the city. And as fate would have it, Dan Michike, who is the music director on Broadway for the Broadway production of Wicked, was at the show, came to the show. He just loves Sideshow. He's a Sideshow stan. And I woke up the next day with an audition. Isn't that stupid?
A really quick turnaround. That's so exciting though.
Well, he's amazing. He's a wonderful person. And yeah, he like slid into my DMs and was like, hey, you're so great. And I thought the show was so good. And have you been seen for Elphaba? And I was like, no. And he was like, do, 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 do. And then, yeah, so I had an audition in April. And then I didn't hear anything. And, you know, as you expect, you don't hear anything. And then 5 months later, out of nowhere, got an email that was like, hi, what is Emily's interest and availability? And I was like, well, I am interested and I am available. And then they brought me in for final callbacks, and I did another round of videos and then in-persons. So yeah, but isn't that funny? It's like sometimes it just takes this one person to see you do the thing that you do. I wish I had known that, like as a younger artist, that you can absolutely kill yourself going to every single audition, and you know there's value to that, and you should. but sometimes it's oftentimes more just about like meeting someone or doing a concert and inviting somebody who you think might not come and who does, and you know, like so much of this business is just getting to know people in our field.
So you're newer to the tour, and as a standby, you don't or necessarily know like when you're going to go on, which is a
Yep.
little bit. However, you just made your Elphaba debut. Congratulations! Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Oh, so awesome. It was amazing. There are kind of like no words. It meant the world to me. It meant everything. I was lucky enough to know ahead of time enough that I could get my family out here. So that was like just huge. I had my people with me, and my best friend from New York surprised me, and um, and I was really lucky because oftentimes as an understudy or a standby, it's like you get one and then you get a long break, and then you get one, and you know, you do one and you're like, ooh, I need to fix this and this, but I don't get to do it again, so I'll just wait till the next time, you know what I mean? But I was lucky because I had this you know, 3 performances back to back, so I was able to sort of like hone in and take a deep breath and sort of live in it for a second, which was really really nice. So yeah, it was great, and I have no idea when I'll be on next, but everybody should still come because the show is amazing, and our lead Elphaba, Lissa, is just, she's a gem. She's incredible.
Speaking of, do you feel that when you're in the process of getting to know the character of Elphaba, do you feel Liz inspires your Elphaba, or how are you making your way and making Elphaba yours?
Yeah, this is a really good question, actually. Yeah, of course, Lissa's Elphaba inspires me. You know, I've never joined a show that was already running, which is a really unique and interesting experience. Pretty much every time I've done a show, it's been building it from the ground up, right? You know, you do a regional production of something somewhere, and you and the director are working together to figure out who this role is for you, you know what I mean? And working together to create it. But when you join a show that's already running, that's so different. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of learning it was learning by watching. So, of course, yeah, Lissa's performance absolutely inspired, you know, what mine is. Um, However, I wanted to be very, I, it's a challenge, and it's, you know, but I wanted to be really conscious of making sure that this sits in me, you know, who is Emily, who is Elphaba Emily, what feels authentic to me, and letting that drive, you know, my version of who she is, because neither, you know, there have been hundreds of Elphabas at this point, right? And they're all going to be a little bit different. But where you're going to fail and where you're not going to feel good is when you're trying to copy somebody else. Always, in any situation, you know, like you know, I'm sure some of you have heard acting teachers who say like, okay, now that you have a role, like stop listening to the cast recordings, stop watching YouTube videos. You know what I mean? Start looking at the text and figuring out what this is to you, you know? And this has been a big lesson in that for me. Yeah, it's been really actually very exciting to figure out who she is to me, and try and you know, put expectation to the side a little bit and dig into who I am and what she means to me.
Absolutely. We're
Yeah.
at the end of our time, but I do want to ask about, your confidence. In one of your recent TikTok videos, you were talking about your experience going on as Alfie, and how you felt calm. And even you sang the national anthem recently at the Bulls, and we were asking like, are you nervous? I'm like, no, I feel good. Talk a little bit about confidence, and a lot of people are asking about like stage fright, and what do you do to help combat stage fright if you have any?
Yeah. Yeah, God, I think that like 50% of what we teach people in acting programs, musical theater programs, should be about this. Because it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you're someone who is just crippled by self-doubt or stage fright, or, you know, whatever it may be, it's like, so yeah, it's a question I get asked a lot. As do, you know, any actors. Um, you know, it, everything works differently for different people. For me, I found that when I was younger, auditioning and performing was more scary. And the more I did it, the more I was able to take a deep breath and bend my knees and sort of, ground myself. To be honest, with the Bulls game, it was like the day after, right? It was like the day after I had done those 3 shows, and I was like, okay, great, let's sing the national anthem. Like, I had just done this thing that felt a lot scarier. Yeah, I wasn't nervous at all for that, which is funny. But what shocked me was that I wasn't nervous, really, for Elphaba either. And I think upon reflecting on it more, and I know we're out of time, but actually I'm fine. My meeting has moved, so we're good. I'm reflecting on, I think part of it is Elphaba, because I think that if I was playing, like, even to a certain extent, I think if I had been playing Glinda, or a role that lives a little bit more here and is, up energy wise, like maybe that would have sort of seeped into feeding into my anxiety or whatever. But I think I knew, like, I'm playing Elphaba. She is grounded. She is strong. She's empowered. She doesn't live there. And so I kind of knew, like, I needed to live there, So I just made sure that my breath was low, and I made sure that I wasn't sort of slow and steady throughout the day, But yeah, I mean, stage fright is such a challenge for so many people, and everybody has different ways of coping. Like, when you are in this business, you meet so many different actors who have so many different ways of coping with that. For some people it's meditation, or if it's yoga, or people have like certain things that they do before they get on stage every night that ground them, or visualizations they use, or anyway, there's so many different techniques, and it's about sort of figuring out what works for you, I think.
Emily, thank you so much for sharing your time and talent with us. We are so grateful. For all of you tuning in, thanks so much for joining us. Emily, where can people keep up with you on social media?
Right here. Instagram, and then I'm on TikTok, same name, Emily Kristen Morris. Follow me there if you want to see like more voice teacher stuff. If any of you want lessons, I'm currently not teaching, but my studio, EKM Studio, vocal studio is up and running, and we do lots of online lessons, and it's all very exciting. And you can find me there, my website, here, anywhere.
So good. For all you who are watching, come see Wicked. It's so exciting. It's December 4th only. We hope to see Emily again on stage. But if not, then you are seeing a really fantastic principal cast. It's a really wonderful show. And we hope to see you out there until December 4th only at the Nederlander Theater. Get your tickets, BroadwayInChicago.com. We hope to see you there. Emily, thanks so much again. And your day.
Yeah, bye guys.